You are not. You are not wearing the medal right now.
Yes, sir. I gotta be on my Patrick Beverly.
The champ is here. Unlike you, he still got to be the playoffs though.
Yeah, I'm chilling now. All right, so yeah, I think this is better. What's good? What you got for me today?
I had one person in the morning, then I lifted, then we had a meeting, then I'm gonna shower and eat after this, and then big group at like 4:30. What about you? You trying to train this week? Or are you still
off? Yeah, I kind of want to get back into it. I want to get back into it just a little bit, just something like a beginner's
like I told
course.
you, we'll keep it more, a lot more baseline conditioning stuff and some single joint work. We just won't lift as much with a barbell, So it'll be like working your way back, and that'll be like 2 weeks like that, and then like the third week we'll start picking it up.
Yeah, because the next week, yeah, that's perfect. Because like the first week of May, that's when I kind of wanted to jump back into it.
Okay.
So these next 2 weeks, kind of just chilling. Like last week, I didn't touch anything. This week is gonna be a bunch of recovery, like stretching, saunas, therapy, all that type of stuff. And next week is the same. Then yeah, jump back into it because I got some tryouts coming up.
That's gonna be what, the first week of May, the tryouts, or is that like
no? I mean the first, like a little later, but like I gotta be back. So the first week of May, that's when I need to jump back into like basketball.
Are you gonna this next week, being that we'd actually start having you train the weight room? You're gonna try to start doing ball stuff that week, next week too?
Very light, but I'm staying at my boy's place. His gym, he has a sled.
You got a sled, okay.
Yeah, he got a sled. He got some better things over there. So I'm gonna go work out with him.
Where is that at?
Over there. That's the gym that's 2 hours away from here. That's the one that I did like a couple of the ball workouts with.
Okay.
I'm staying with him for the next like month and a half, and helping him coach. And we're gonna be doing the ball stuff, and then like he got the weight room too, but his weight room's way better. So
okay,
like it's time. This is a good situation.
You catch any of the games over there, or is it like you got to do tape delay?
Nah, I mean Saturday was cool because it was like all day basketball, so that worked.
Okay.
Like I watched only one I got to watch was the Timberwolves. Who they played? Timberwolves and who?
Memphis.
Yeah, I got to watch that one, but I didn't see who won.
Timberwolves fucking won.
Yeah, and then I saw Brooklyn lost. So,
bro, did you watch the whole game, or you just saw that they lost?
No, I can't really watch the full games because, like, honestly, it's just a normal day here, and I'm like, oh, the game's on. Like, try to catch it, and then I got something else to do. It's not like it's not at the end of my day, or it's like super late that I'm about to just go to sleep. It's like 3 a.m, 2 a.m, and the game's on. So I'm just like, all right, let me catch a little bit, and then I'll see what happens tomorrow.
That game was crazy, bro. I've never seen Kevin Durant get D'd up like that. They were stripping him, blocking him like every other play. It was like he looked like a shell of himself or some shit. I don't know, like people were talking about like how he kind of looked nonchalant. Like I don't know if he thought this was like the Celtics of old, but these motherfuckers grew up. And that coach, the whatever that's from the doc system, whatever. Yeah. It's really the defense. Like they share the ball more. It's not just Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown ISO, but they defense is like top notch. Like,
I'm gonna watch some of the highlights today, but like I said, it's 7:30. I just woke up. Long weekend. I'll tell you, it's just been a long weekend, man. Bunch of celebration was going on, and the Easter was yesterday. So yeah, I'm just now getting into myself again. I gotta check all these highlights out and all of that. Maybe watch a couple games today if they got any. We'll see.
Oh yeah, somebody plays. Yeah, now it's basically every single day somebody's playing. I know that Giannis, the Bucks, they beat the Bulls. I wasn't surprised by that though. because like the Bulls were down by like 25 almost the whole game. I think they cut it to like 8 to 10 in the fourth quarter.
Wait,
That was
the Bucks. The Bucks don't play the Bulls. The Bucks play the Bulls.
Yeah, it's third.
That's
The
a
Bulls
bad.
in the 6th seed. Third.
That's a bad matchup. I don't like it. I don't like it. I thought the Bulls would be better. They not big enough. I don't like it.
And when it was at the end of the game, like they just didn't have enough. They didn't have enough threats. Like the Bucks knew exactly what they were trying to do. Like, and DeRozan and Zach LaVine they were both like 6 for 24, 6 for 28. Like they didn't play that well. Alex Caruso though was making the Bucks turn over the ball. I swear, like he was either taking the charge or stealing the ball. Like he was helping keeping them in the game. Really,
Caruso is probably the best player on that team. Well, the best glue guy on the team.
Yeah. I was about to say, wait, hold on now.
not the best player, bro, but like without Caruso, they'll be in a lot of.
It's like a Marcus Smart type of situation.
No, because Marcus Smart, just as much as he helps you, he hurts you. So I'm not gonna say Marcus Smart, but he do the dirty
work. No, that Marcus Smart looking elite yesterday.
I don't know. I gotta watch the game. I think
Marcus Smart, man,
6 man of the year.
They just announced the finalists. He not even in it. It's like really? the dude from the Suns, Hero, and there's one other player because they only had, if it wasn't the MVP, everything else only had 3 slots. Rookie of the year was bad. Yeah, Rookie of the Year was like 3. I think most improved was between Ja and 2 other people. I can't remember. Damn, I can't remember what was. What was I talking about?
Rookie of the Year. Nah, 6 man. I didn't even know he's not a candidate. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't even think he. Yeah, because he missed a lot. I think he missed a lot of games at some point this season.
Yeah, he got hurt with the wrist injury or whatever.
Yes, yeah. So I think it either disqualified or just because those other guys played consistent and they played the whole year. Yeah, but Marcus Smart, he's a top 3 for Defensive Player of the Year. It's him, Rudy Gobert, and what's the other dude? Damn, it's another guard. It's another guard. I can't remember, but Marcus Smart, bro. I'm telling you, that man he's a pest.
I don't like. I mean, I like him, but he's like a Patrick Beverly in my eyes. Like,
but he can score better than he can score and pass better than. Like usually Patrick Beverly be blowing wide open layups and shit. I'd be like,
you don't need him to score. You need him to do the hustle plays, but not to get text and like get under people's skin where they just like, you know what, I'm gonna give you 50.
But see, that's why I like Marcus Smart because he don't do as much as the dumb shit that Patrick Beverly does, and he a better scorer. Like Marcus Smart, low key is their point guard. Like he passing, scoring, like it's like whatever they need. And you know Patrick, like he go pick up checks and these dumb fouls because he gets too excited. Like he literally gets too hyped and be like, bro, calm the fuck down.
Yeah. We'll see.
But yeah, man.
I got Philly coming out though.
Philly? Ain't no way they winning shit. I pray for my boy Harden to win a chip, but Harden, bro, come on. I mean, as soon as I saw that first next game matchup, I said, oh, nah. He's still the same dude. He's still dribbling off his foot. He still ain't guarding people, and he's still jacking up bad step back numbers. Like, he's a nice dude, but it's just him and Embiid. Like, I don't think that's enough to beat. I don't think it's enough, not let alone the Bucks. I don't think it's enough to beat the Celtics. I would pick the Nets over them too. I just think James Harden has not shown us. I mean, James Harden has not shown us that he'll step up to the plate. He's deteriorated so many times.
He don't got to play too many games, and I think Embiid, nobody can guard him. So as long as they hit their open shots, I think they'll be fine. And James Harden doesn't even have to be like a superhero at this point right now. And I feel like right now their matchup is like pretty decent. Like they're gonna win that, no problem.
They're playing Toronto, yeah.
They're gonna have to like come together as time goes on, but I think they got a good like route to the finals, where each one will get gradually a little bit harder. But like right now, they're gonna kill the Raptors. maybe that could bring them together.
I'm trying to think, because what seed are they in? Are they 2 and 7? No.
I think they're
no.
Yeah, that's
4th and 5th.
No, I don't think they're 4th or 5th. I think that's the really
Bulls
matchup.
Nah, Bulls is 3 and 6.
So then they 2 and 7. They're not 4 or 5.
Nah, because the Nets are 7 and the Celtics are 2. And then the Heat is 1. The Heat is 1, and who are they playing? The Hawks are 8.
Okay, yeah. That's crazy. I didn't think there was.
So who's 4? So they're 4 or 5. Who do they play next?
They played a 1-2 matchup, I think.
Oh, what, the 1-2?
I mean the 1-8 matchup.
The 1-8. So they play the Heat. Yeah, bro, you got to see the Heat. The Heat defense is crazy too. Trey didn't even have double digits. He had 8 points. He shot like 1 for 12. Bro.
The Heat is a glorified college team.
Nah, you disrespected him now. You're like your man, Fat Lowry.
Nah, we'll see. I'm excited for it.
Jimmy buckets. Because Tyler Hero and what's the other white boy that can shoot?
No,
what's his name?
Robinson.
Duncan Robinson, man. Them boys letting it fly. And then you got who's a big Adebayo. He's playing like a beast. Like Embiid's gonna give it to him, but Adebayo's gonna make him tired by making him rim run. And then they got so many good guards that play both ways. That's the thing. Like none of them are all I do is shoot. Like Hero more so, but most of the rest of them they guard and they score. And I just think the dynamic duo of the Sixers ain't enough of a dynamic duo because I don't believe Harden's all of a sudden gonna like not do what he's done for his whole career. Like I have no doubt Embiid, like they're either gonna make Embiid try to get 60 every night, or they're gonna double team him and say Harden beat us. And I just don't think he can. Like Harden was perfect. I thought the Nets was perfect for him. Third option, beat a point guard. Like that was like dream come true. And then I guess the whole vaccine with Kyrie shit and I don't know. I heard Kyrie was doing them up in the one-on-ones or something and talking shit to him.
Talking shit to him and they was fighting all the time. And I don't know, man. But if they match up, if they end up matching up somewhere in the playoffs, that'll be fun.
Yeah. Either way, this year's been like really good. Like all the like I didn't think I was like, all right, the Timberwolves watch. Now they just gonna get smacked by Memphis, and they stole that game 1. Anthony Edwards ain't afraid of nobody, and they got Karl Anthony Towns and like.
About time the Timberwolves look like something.
Time. And D'Angelo, they just be forgetting about D'Angelo Russell. Like when they were in that play, D'Angelo Russell probably the reason why they got in because Cat had like 10 points in that game. He shot terrible, and then D'Angelo went to like 30 something.
That was the game when he was sucking up on this girl, and he was like, "Oh, when you kill and you got 7, when you win, you got 7 points in a rec center." Trash.
So what you want to talk about, man? You the one who came up with this idea.
I came up with the idea, bro. I just wanted to talk about what the last 2 years, a little bit of detail, just so I can get some videos, so I can post it. So however you want to talk about, when we first started to like now, how we adapted with the workouts, depending on where I was at, and just the fact that we kept going, and like literally this season I finished not hurt, stronger. I got over time, so I just wanted to kind of make a video about that so we could post it and like help promote the book and shit a little tip.
Right. Well, let's start at the beginning. Like before you had gotten hurt, I'm trying to think back. I remember you had asked me about stuff, but we hadn't started training or nothing like that, or even really talked about it. So just talk about like the injury you had, and then how did you get to the point? Because I can't even remember like how we got to the point where I started training. Yeah, when you got hurt, and then how we got to be training you. Because I still forget to this day. Because that's 2 years ago now.
Yeah, I remember it because it was literally like step by step. So I'll go back into was like what 2019 when I want to say I did something funny with my calf and my Achilles. That's how it started. It was like in like March. We didn't have any like trainers or physical therapists or anything like that. So I kind of pulled the calf and it felt funny. And then for the rest of the season, it was messed up. I didn't rest after the season. I went straight to DR and I played out there for like a month. And then like I turned it into a mini vacation because mentally I was tired, physically I was tired, but I was just so pissed off about how the year finished in Germany. I'm like, I gotta get revenge right now, like right now. So I didn't give myself enough time to rest, all of that. And then I went into another season in El Salvador and my body just broke down. Like eating bad, drinking a little bit too much, because this is my summer. I just had a 10-month season and I had no rest. I went straight into 2 more seasons. So like that's what happened. Then I fall on somebody's foot on my bad leg, starting from that Achilles calf situation. I fell on somebody's foot, ended up having to get surgery. What was that? Like 6 months went past, and we were supposed to go to China together. That didn't work. So then what happened? Went to China, came back, and I got cleared January of 2020. And then I'm trying to get back. Like, and I've always been motivated. Basketball wise, we know that was no issue. I always worked out. We know that was no issue. My nutrition was horrible, and my workouts were inconsistent.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like I always had a problem with like lifting heavy weights because like I really hated those basketball players that was big and they looked like something crazy, but then when they played basketball, it was just like they were trash.
Right.
I hated that. So like I kind of like strayed away from getting in the weight room like crazy because I'm like, they can't hoop anyway.
Yeah.
Not knowing that I could already hoop. If I get my body like that, it could be like 10 times better for me.
Right.
So I couldn't work out in the city. You said that you had a job at Sweatline, at the gym. And I was really looking to play because I knew like September I wanted to be back and I wanted to be ready to hoop again. Like I had so much revenge in my heart. I wanted to hoop again. So I'm just like, yeah, let me try to get out there. So that's when we started doing the quarantine workouts. That's when we started
that's right.
The home quarantine workouts.
The home
started doing that.
Yes.
with the bands and the ankle weights and the farmers walks up and down the hallway in the house, jumping over the benches. And, what else we was doing? Like the shoulder workouts, the core shit with the ball, and we was talking a lot on live. And that's when you said that you had got the job in Sweatline. So I was trying to come out there for a couple months, and I'm just like when I never had a big injury before this, so like. You got to eat right. You got to work out. But I thought I was doing it the right way. And it turns out I wasn't. So once you got to take that much time, once you take that much time off, you're like, all right, if I want to be a serious
reassess,
player, a real professional, I gotta start doing things the right way because my body I wouldn't be able to continue a long career at that point. Like if I kept at the rate I was going, I probably would have had to retire or got really hurt next year or something like that. Yeah. Like, so I felt like me getting hurt, it slowed me down and it really showed me how I needed to eat right. I needed to really take all of this stuff like, seriously if I wanted to make something of myself. So when I came out there and you were like, yeah, when I came down to you, I was like 220, bro. I was fat. I felt nasty. I was slow. I had half a leg, and you're like, yeah, we're just gonna do 3 days a week or 4 days a week, something light, something super light, yo. I'm like, I'm trying to get back, bro. I'm 220. Let's go. Like, let's go. You're like, chill. A little something today. That's enough. Like I'm trying to do extra work because I'm like, I always know how to work. Like that's all I know is like
Yeah.
in the gym, in the gym, in the gym. And you're like, nah, like quality over quantity. I'm just like in the gym all day, doing this workout 5 hours here, another workout later. And that's not the way it was. That's not, you know. So like the first week I was pretty pissed because I'm like, I came all the way out here and we ain't even
Did you ever
doing
tell
nothing.
me that? I don't remember you telling me that.
How could I?
Right. But a lot of people go through that same thing that are athletes, especially really good athletes. The common denominator is really, really good athletes. You have to tell them to do less. People who never will be amount to anything and won't be good athletes are the ones you got to beg to do everything. So I
Yeah,
always rather would have that. But yeah, that beginning phase, a lot of people, especially at your level, go through that where it's like, especially coming off injury like you were, it's like we got to be more on the cautionary side. And like,
yeah,
especially where it's like, okay, upper body, we know we can push, right? But your
yeah,
legs, being that you just started doing basketball, they're already getting taxed because they're underdeveloped and because you lost muscle, you lost strength and all that from your time off. So
yeah,
the goal is always thinking that long game. And we
yeah,
could rush you back to 100%, and then you may have gotten too sore, too beat up so quick because we rushed. I think I remember telling you this, like too much volume added too quick and too much volume taken away too quick. Both can get you hurt,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
No matter
Yeah,
which side you're on. So, it was always slowly building up that intensity. And then it's not like, oh, the workouts eventually become easy because you get used to it. But then you get to a
yeah,
point where when I would add something maybe more intense for a week that's more intense, it wouldn't destroy you and take away from the fact that you still got to put up 1,000 to 2,000 shots a week,
yeah,
and,
exactly.
people that you don't have to play the sport to understand it. But if you played something, you understand that, like, hey, they still at the end of the day, it's going to be availability and I still got to practice my craft. And with basketball,
Yeah,
because you have to work on so many skills, you got to be on your feet and jumping and running all the damn time. But in the weight
exactly.
room,
Yep.
we got to push in a smart way to only aid and not hopefully take away, and that
Yeah,
took time on both of our parts learning that, but it obviously paid dividends. And I think it paid pretty quick because towards the end of that summer, I feel like you were already getting back like pretty fast.
yeah. I would say, when I got out there in June, was it June or July? I think it was
It was
July.
June. I think you left like August, right? You
I
were there for
left
like two and a
no,
half months. Or no.
no, bro. I was there all the way until
Oh,
December,
December,
bro.
December, right? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
came out there in June.
Ooh.
I think I was barely playing basketball. Like, I was barely moving. I was like real heavy. And think about it, like when did we do the video? By like
Which video?
August, dunking video that day.
Oh, shoot.
I don't know, but it
It
was
must have
like
been July
August
or
something.
August.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was like middle of the summer where I was like, okay, I'm finally like dunking again. I hit the
Yeah,
right
yeah, yeah.
cradle. I'm like, I'm back.
The
But like
crazy thing
even
about
that,
that, I'm
but
just thinking
yeah.
back to like even in New York when we be at Chelsea Piers, you were not windmilling when you were up there. So
No, so my,
like,
my my bounce has always been inconsistent, bro.
yeah,
Because my workouts have always been inconsistent and like
right.
my eating habits. So I can do that. I could always do that. Like my first time doing that, I was like 18, but
Yeah.
I can only do it certain days out the month
Mhm.
because I would just
Yeah.
like you said, it wasn't it.
Yeah.
But when we finally got there, like that summer, I like it was the first summer where I actually decided to fully trust anybody else,
Right.
like because I seen you working out and I was just like I said, not you personally, but I seen it like I'm not a guy, I'm not trying to get heavy, I'm not trying to lift
Yeah.
heavy and be bulky and whatever else, you hear about lifting weights and stuff. But now I'm like, I see that you're in this position, you're a trainer, you've been a trainer, we've been working out together, and every other time we worked out, you always had this pace to you, especially
Mhm.
working out with your pops. You always had this pace. And in my head, I'm like, he's not going hard. He's bullshitting. But you finish the
Mhm.
workout every time. And every time I would be quitting on the workout. And your pops would be like, all right, let's go. We just move on, bro. And that shit like it hit me every time, like, damn, I can never finish a workout. And here you are pacing yourself, getting through it, finishing and still have energy the next day to do it again. And I'm just done.
Yeah.
So like
And I think
I'm like,
that's that's a big thing from like, especially that last year and a half, 2 years when I was playing, I started learning more. And that's when I started already, I feel like in the back of my head, already transitioned to doing what I do now, because I started falling in love with gaining more knowledge on, well, why does this work? Why does this not work? Why did my whole career, basically, I was training the wrong way? How is it now that I lift heavy weights and I'm less beat up than I did when I trained like a bodybuilder? How is it that it's easier for me to play the whole game running at 85%, and before it was one sprint and I felt like I was done and I run less? You know, so like when I hired my coach that I still do now for powerlifting, and introducing all the sled work, I mean, fucking sled work for goddamn ever. But it was like, when I get on the court, it's like, bro, now I can run 85, 90% over and over and over and over. And that's your game. You know, unlike football, you don't reach top speed in basketball. But who can do 85% of their max sprint over and over and over? Like Westbrook skill-wise, shit. But I tell all my athletes, athletic-wise, bro, that's what you want to be. Like, that motherfucker feels like he's still at 100% and everybody else is deadbeat tired. Now, technique-wise and skill-wise, I don't know who working with him. But strength addition, something is going right for him. Because he's been the same for years. I mean, besides the Beverly injury, I think, you know, fine. So, you know, when we change working smarter, not harder with you and that quality, like we said, when you're talking about, oh, I could go the next day and just be just fine, but that's that GPP, that base. So for me to go, I would work out optimally and you will work out maximally. So in a year, if I worked out 6 to 7 days a week and it was at 85%, but every 1 to 3 weeks, you had to take a day or two, I'm getting more shots than you in, because I'm not destroying myself and it's like, it would always be, okay, what drill in this drill, do I really suck at this drill? I'm going to try to go a little harder in this drill. Am I really great at this drill? Okay, I'm not going to go as hard. And then it's the same thing where, like, the more and more I learned about, oh, my body's feeling like shit today, I'm going to do form shooting and in-place dribbling. And remember, Dad would talk to you about that too, to a lesser extent. Like, hey, you can work out every day, but every day, just like in the weight room, can't be the same exact intensity. Otherwise, unless if you're a freak, and we're talking small percent, you're going to break down eventually. Like, there's no way you can sustain that, you know. And
that also was something different for me. Like I said, letting go of those hard days in the gym, because I would work out the same way every day. Like, every day I'll do the same skills. And when we got there, when I got to you, we would do floaters today for 45 minutes, or dribbling with floaters, or post moves, just one skill. And I'm like, all right, like, I'm not like, how's this helping me right now? You know what I mean? Like, I'm still, it took me a while. And same thing, like they said, when Kobe got hurt, and he not got hurt, but when Kobe got to a point where he needed to change trainers and they made him do a lot less. And he's like, bro, I'm used to doing it this way. So especially on the basketball court, that's something that I know how to work out basketball wise. I thought I did, but I didn't. So fully like letting go of who I am, what got me to this point. It might have worked back then, but it wouldn't work in the future no more. So, like, when you were helping me with the sled, and we would do, I hated the sled for sure, because especially it was outside. I hated that. And those good mornings, I hated those. Good morning. And then, like, some of the basketball drills, like, it was just like, I felt like it was not baby work, but it was just very light. But we, like you said, I understood it, like, as time went on. All right, in the week, we did every single skill, like, perfectly. You know, at a good pace where it was like each rep was perfect, and I got better that way. So as I see me improving each week, and each week getting more and more and more, and now we adding on weights, and, you know, like you said, the confidence comes when you can add on an extra 5 pounds to whatever, or you could go a little faster, you could jump a little higher. Like, that confidence comes back with it.
I think too, it's like with the basketball drills, it's like, well, 100 quality shots is going to be better than 200 shitty shots. And it's like, if I focus on isolating a skill that day, just like I may isolate a certain weakness in the weight room, and my workouts now are not 3 hours, but they're hour and a half, I can just, all I got to do is spread out those 4 crazy long workouts where I feel like I'm throwing up, I'm dizzy, I'm pale in the face, which is no good, for body recovery. And I just spread that same workout a little longer and go as hard as I can and then shut it down. If I go hard for an hour instead of coast through 2 hours, I'm going to be to do more work throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year. And that volume adds up to more. And then also with skill, you don't want to get so tired where then you're creating bad habits. Because we know when you get tired, there's that whole like, well, you gotta practice when you're tired. But all the time like that, especially with jumpers and floaters, you'll start ingraining bad technique because your first hour versus 2 or 3 hours, your technique is totally different. So if you do that all the time, you're going to only ingrain bad habits, right? So, but if you do 6 to 7 ball workouts and you do 2 a day, but they're hours each time and you're going hard and it's like, okay, I feel like it's going into shitville now. You shut it down. That's better than, well, I did 3 hours today. Well, great. But 80% of the work wasn't good. What's the point? So the same thing in the weight room. It's like people who want it with athletes, especially like if you're training 4 days a week and you can, so you don't have to do like full body every time, you're going to get more out of it when you can like focus on, okay, hamstrings. I'm going to try to kill my hamstrings. I'm not going to coast through hamstrings because I got 10 other exercises after. That's going to be better. And you're going to lower risk of injury too, just because under fatigue, whether it's weight room or ball, you're asking for an injury when, oh, my calf's cramping up. Let me keep jumping. That's not good. So, and then let's progress after what happened after the sweat line when that was December. After you left there, you trained with me a little bit at the rack before you went.
We got to the rack. We got to the rack.
October?
I don't know when you got there, and I was kind of like still working.
I started in October.
Okay, so I was definitely there, and we started going to sweat line, and I started working out with what's your guy's name?
Lou?
Name? Who? Not Lou. The one who works out with the guy who works out with Jordan Hill and Jody Meeks and
D.
Damn, what's his name? Yeah. So I started working out with him a little bit, and then we came to the rack. It was like in the mornings we was doing it, and I had no looks, bro. I was kind of pissed. I had nothing like coming into that start of the season. So I'm just like trying to stay motivated.
I remember
trying to make money in a situation where like the housing and the money situation wasn't the best out there, and I'm just like, I gotta stay because the workouts are great, and I'm starting to learn, how to change my life around through this fitness and basketball. So I'm like, I have to stay here. So I'm just literally not making no money, just staying there just to work out with you, just to be in these situations and stuff. Now I'm trying to make a move. I see everybody going back overseas, but I wasn't 100% ready yet. Like I didn't think I was completely ready. Like my leg, it didn't really. I started the summer off with you. I could probably go like 2 days hard straight in a row, and like each week it got more and more. So now I can go like a whole 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month without feeling any type of pain in my leg or anything. I was feeling super normal. Yeah. But before it was like after 3 days I would be done. So around the beginning, around like October, I was like almost there. Like I could go like a full week with no issue. Maybe have to like ice it, on a Sunday, and then I could be back on Monday. Like I was good. But basketball wise, like running and everything, like a full 5-on-5 game every day, every couple days a week, like I couldn't do. And then we did my first actual competition was the 3-on-3.
That's right.
The 3-on-3 Dennis Scott's joint, and I was scared about that because I turned it on here and there, but we didn't really turn it on. You know what I mean? And that day, when turned it on, the shot was looking good. I was feeling like I think I almost put a putback, something like that. But just like moving was easier. Like defense was easier than it was before. I wasn't struggling to move. I didn't need a ton of energy and adrenaline just to be quick. Like I was just quick from
Yeah,
the
the
jump.
lateral speed was like the last thing to come along, and that's why the
Yeah.
defense was not great in the beginning. You
Yeah.
let my ass go by your ass. I said, "Oh, he got a little while to go."
Move. I couldn't move, bro. I
Yeah.
couldn't move.
Because
Like
you plant
I could
hard, it's
go.
like you feel that pain, and it's like,
Yeah, I couldn't really like change direction as well, and I couldn't. My brakes sucked because I could get myself up to running, but when I got to stop on a dime and turn, I'm like I can't do it, bro. So people was just blowing past me on defense. I mean, on offense, they was blowing past me. I couldn't stay in front of anybody for real. And they're thinking it's because I'm trashed or I can't play defense. Like I'm like, you're not good. Like most times I go into the gym, I'm like, these guys aren't good. I just can't move. And that's like the worst thing. Like that's the most humbling thing. It's like you can't. I would never say it. I never said it out loud. But guys talk so crazy, and I'm just in my head like, bro, I'm way better than you, and I'm playing on like half of a leg right now, and nobody knows.
Right.
They just think, you know. So I finally got the chance to go out to Bosnia. I got the opportunity in Bosnia in like December, like around Christmas time. Worst thing I did. I mean, it was a bad time because I had to drive for my one of my best friend. He passed away, so I had to go to his funeral in Michigan. But besides that, the worst thing I did was like 2 weeks beforehand, which is always the worst when you leave the country. You have to, you got to do so much stuff. You got to get your visas ready, passport, all the COVID situations, pack, say bye to family, spend some time with the, loved ones or whatever. And I wasn't in the gym with you like that much. So when I got out there 2 weeks later, I'm like, damn, bro, like they looking at me like, did you work out at all? I'm like, bro, I had one of the best summers ever. It took a little while for me to get used to like just to get back into the rhythm of playing and stuff. And it took like now these games are serious. Now these games count towards my resume. So, it's a different type of pressure. I'm playing against pros that's been playing forever. I wasn't happy. I think my first game I was gunning, bro. I was so like excited to be back pro. Like I think I had like 18 off the bench, but it was like a horrible shooting day. Like I was throwing up 2 years worth of shots, bro. I swear, like I was just jacking them up. And I went through a bunch of up and downs, and that's when like the aches and pains of playing in the game like finally hit. Like I'm like, damn, I'm bruised up. Like, you get a screen, you get hit with a screen, or you get kneed in the thigh or a little shoulder. I got a black eye. I got beat up so much, my body wasn't used to that, so I had to get used to doing that. And a part of it, we had the crappy old school gym that we figured out a way to get some workouts in there, and I just kept.
Oh yeah, we had the squat stands and cement shit.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, it was
kept working out.
Yeah, upper body was fine. Lower body, I think I had to do. It was mostly like block pull sumo deadlifts and RDLs with dumbbells and shit, lunges. The annoying thing, there was nothing to jump on. There was no boxes. Nothing.
Couldn't jump on anything. Nope. Yeah. My bounce went straight down because I couldn't jump. I couldn't do anything. But like, yeah, my teammates, they would just be chilling, bro. Like, oh, we just had a game. I'm tired. I'm like, I'm over here like pulling fucking 300 on a sumo deadlift or doing a fucking, I don't know, whatever, So like, they look at me like, damn, bro, you do all of this? I'm like, yep. So we would shoot in the mornings, and then right after he would go to sleep, and then I would go to the weight room because I'm like, this is what got me here. I need to keep going. Like I wasn't. I think by that time I was like 208, still like 205, like still kind of too heavy for like my personal liking. Like, so I was, and I didn't feel like completely stronger. You know what I mean? So I felt like, and that was the first time I knew. Like I knew when I would go into the weight room exactly what I'm doing. Like I'm not going off of feeling. I'm not going off of adding some shit that I just saw yesterday and let me try this fucking NBA players workout or something like that. Right. I knew exactly what I was going in there to do, and like it worked. It really like it helped me out. Just knowing All right, I
Yeah,
got
the
this,
week
and this
building,
today.
the workouts actually building off of each other instead of randomly selected because it could be the
Yeah,
perfect workout, but it's got to make sense to what you just did the day before, or the week before. And then the
yeah,
next week, you can't just keep doing that same workout, or you can't do that same workout 4 or 5 days a week, because that
yeah,
workout may attack one type of strength, but you need multiple strengths if you're an athlete. You can't just be maximally strong. You can't just
yeah,
be extremely conditioned. You can't just have strength endurance, or have a bunch of muscle. You got to have a mixture of all those things, and then they focus in certain areas, especially the
yeah,
position. Like the big men can get a little bit more weight with being less conditioned, but should have more muscle and have more size because they got to bang. Whereas the
yeah.
guards, you need to be a little bit slimmer because you got to run a lot more.
Oh, hey, you said you got to run a lot more.
But yeah, the guards, they got to typically, if you're, a stretch five, it's a little bit different. But, typically your guard, you're going to need, or you can get away with having less muscle and less maximum strength, whereas you need to be a lot more conditioned, especially if you're a guard that also defends and plays big minutes too.
Yeah, minutes was crazy. So I finished out in Bosnia, and then did the TBL. We did some workouts. We found some gyms over the summer. It was still COVID, which was crazy. I couldn't come out to Atlanta. Um, and then we found out we was coming back to Gießen, coming back to Germany in a situation where I really didn't want to come back to. I really didn't want to be back at this level.
Yeah.
I knew there wasn't a lot of upside here, and it was looking like just another normal year. But I'm just like, all right, let me come back in here with a different type of mindset. So the first thing I did, like you said, got to the weight room, sent you a video of the place, and I'm just like, fuck it, just make it work. We decided 3 days a week instead of 4.
Yeah, we would do max effort lower, max effort upper, and then a fusion of the dynamic day for lower and upper. But it would be because it was the day before the game, it would be your main movements and then like 1 or 2 accessories for upper and lower, and that'll be it. Half the time it would be like band and hamstring curls and push downs. Like most week it wasn't like doing a lot of stuff that would make you sore. But maybe Mondays we would do more higher volume than we typically would do, just so you get it in. You want to be loose because a lot of the thing is that you guys run so much in season that one of the biggest and easiest ways to maintain strength is not focus on not losing muscle from all the running. So it's like, yeah. I was just gonna say, that was a big focus, even more so than pushing the max. It's like we wanted to maintain your maximal strength, but pushing to maintain muscle because you get run down so much and all the like you're burning such a high amount of calories. You gotta make sure that you try to maintain that muscle. Because as soon as you start losing muscle, your strength will go down, and you're just gonna feel crappy. You start feeling more, that skinny fat feeling because your muscle starts going away. You best believe your body fat's gonna go up. So, that's why we did a lot more 3-rep, 5-rep maxes. Oh, you have an off week. Let's see if we can do a single, but otherwise it's like, nah, let's do stuff where we're leaving purposely 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds in the tank. And it's a 3 or 5-rep max,
Yeah, that max situation is still a bit complicated for me, bro, because like I have no spotter most times.
Spotters.
I got no spotter sometimes. So like especially on that squat, I was in between feeling like I had more than 10 to 20 in the tank left, like to go. But I'm like, I still got to keep it safe because nobody's here to, so I had to hold it. And then I started doing the 2.5s, adding on a little 2.5.
Yep, there you go. 2.5 plates. That's it.
All right. I guess I'll do this, but I knew I had way more. So I finally pushed 3 plates one day and I'm like, I've been kind of psyching myself out, scared, and I could do it.
Yeah.
But if you don't feel comfortable with it, I got nobody with me to tell you. So I was just like, just play it safe, just play it cool.
Yeah.
But another thing that I had a problem with this year was the jumping. Like the jumping, I really missed that because I would go into the games literally having jumped the whole week, haven't done anything like I want to say athletic, but like in that realm of how we would do box jumps, or we would do this type of run or this type of sled. I didn't move a lot. It was just like lifting a lot. So I would come in there, you're loose, but it's not as loose as you would be in a I can't say athletic, it's all athletic, but an athletic movement like a jump or something.
Yeah.
So like now when I'm trying to dunk in the game or something, it's just like still foreign.
Yeah.
Instead of
and that's the hard part, because we would do stuff like the pogo jumps or seated into standing jumps, but the problem is that none of those things can get measured. The only thing you can kind of measure is a broad jump, but the broad jump is the hard on the knees. So it was always sub-maximal jumping, but you are getting a lot of your jumping in the game during season. But there was a lot more like, all right, I'm a little bit beat up this week. What are you doing every day? You're already jumping. So it's like, we could do more, but we can't even measure improvement. So it's like, that's where you got to try to maintain the strength and muscle and hope that the jump doesn't go. Because it's one of the hardest things to do is improve. You can improve your maximal strength as an athlete, and muscle size probably the easiest. But explosive strength wise is going to be so hard because you're doing that all the time. And when you're actually like, when it's like, let's say you didn't even have a jump mat over there. Let's say your record is 30. What did you just do in the game before? You probably jumped 31 inches because you can't mimic the adrenaline. The next day, go try to jump 30 on the mat. You may get 28 point something, 29 point something. As long as we stay in that range, we're nowhere we're maintaining, but when you don't even have anything to measure, that's where it's like, let's focus on more of the health side than anything. That's where it's like, even with the mat, I would still probably do, if we had boxes and stuff like that, I would probably do more box jumping because you can gain the confidence because it's a little bit easier to break records in those. But on the jump mat, you're going to probably be feeling more defeated because at your level, age and injury history, and the amount of playing that you have to do, because you're not just a role player, it's hard to push those things, even if we had the things to measure that there are the better versions, So, and if you drop an inch, like most of the kids that go away to college that can't train with me at all, a lot of times they're going down 2 or 3 inches. And when they go back to school, I get them back an inch above their old PR. So it's not that it's not like it totally goes away. It's just that a lot of times it is going to stay the same, or just depending on how crappy and how much you ran that week, it may go down only 1 inch, or maybe you improve by 0.1, but rarely in season, especially at an older age, are you going to be improving at that same inch a month? Like it's much harder to get that when you have more stress, when you're older and you have had injuries. Like you don't see guys get to 40 after they're already 30 years old. Most of the time that shit's happened. You got to get that before, so, and that's why, places and teams and stuff, you got to invest in equipment, like especially the measuring devices. If you can't measure anything, how do you know if you get better? Yeah.
The equipment for sure, because like even that, I'm not naming names, but even in certain situations, like top leagues don't have the trainers or the facilities, weight rooms. The recovery is the worst thing out here. So like I'll play a whole week workout and the recovery is horrible, bro. Like it's horrible to the point where I'm still feeling a little ache from 2 weeks ago and it's affecting me, now or for the next 2 months I'm hurting. And I never got a massage. You don't get the massages, you don't get the ice, bro. I spent so much money on ice on my own this year. Like you gotta buy the bags of ice for like $4, bro. And I have to buy it like twice a week. So I'm spending money on ice, trying to, put my foot in there, put it on my knees, all that stuff. And then I gotta like really fight to try to lift this or like even by the time we started doing the jumps, I haven't done it in not so long, but it's been so long since we've done it. Like, cause we started doing a little bit later. And I was already beat up because I can't take an ice bath, can't hop in a jacuzzi, can't do pool workouts, don't have the trainer to give you the massage you need it, the heat, none of that. No, I'm doing all that on my own. The massage gun helps, it's okay, but it's not it.
And it's rough out there. Like we talk about equipment and stuff like that. It's just about pricing and shipping. Shipping, you go overseas, you may add an extra 1,000 on what a regular shipping between. Let's say you're buying reverse hyper from Rogue. Rogue from here to from Rogue maybe 500 shipping, over there maybe 1,500. Like places. Especially when they're coming from, they don't have a strength conditioning coach. It's just the sports coach. Are like, first of all, we don't even need to lift weights. Second, we don't need that. We have easy curl bars, and all we need to do is bench press. So they don't know that they should be belt squatting their athletes a lot. Take pressure off the spine. let's get some traction. You best believe, you know me, I can do a full body workout with just a fucking sled. But what do you guys not have any of? They're cheap as hell. You don't have any sleds. Like, but what do they have? All the little machine stuff. Yeah, because you know what they mostly have over there? Like a lot of places, bodybuilders, and they have athletes. So they're not catering. They got a million treadmills, but they ain't got one reverse hyper. That's bad, but that's that's just what you deal with,
Making the best of it. Making the best of it.
Yeah.
And then I see like a lot of the players here, they just don't lift. They don't work out. They take their off days. They still got jobs. They won't do anything the whole week, and they'll just play. And that's just, I can't do it. I couldn't do it, But then the facilities here, they're trash. Like, I working out at the rack and then seeing like other gyms, and I'm like, okay, like now I see it. At first I'm like, this is a good gym, it's a cool gym, it's nice. But now I see the big difference between the gym like the rack and the gym that I'm at now. Oh, we don't have these bands. We don't have this type of bar. We don't have this boxes, the jump mat, reverse hypers. We don't have the ATP, that's what it's called.
ATP, yeah.
We don't have that. My hamstrings for some reason just felt like they just got so weak, bro.
Yeah.
And we was doing the what's the call? Like the hamstring
the inverse curl. The inverse curl, yeah.
Yeah.
You got it to the point where you didn't need the pad, didn't you?
Yeah. I don't
Did you get the whole
do
weight
that right now.
Yeah.
I held like a 5-pound weight, and I think I went all the way down and came up and knocked out. And then we was doing the one where we'd be right in front, right behind you, up
45 degree or the GHD. Oh, where I would put the boxes in front and then you would go down, or you would
lift myself up.
Just do right.
Yeah. So I was getting really good at it, and like now toward the end of the season, like the last month, I've had hamstring issues, just a little bit.
Right.
Just because like it just feels weak. Like the hamstring curls, they worked, but it's not the same as those type of workouts that we did.
Yeah,
when you do this shit was my hammy.
When you do hamstring curls, it attacks the hamstring where it attaches to the knee, whereas the RDLs and the inverse curl and the 45 degree and the GHD, it hits it more the upper where it touches to the butt, and that not only affects acceleration and top speed, but a lot of times it's the hardest to hit, so you gotta touch that. And a lot of times when you're doing a lot of decelerating or you're pulling yourself out of the box, you may get the bottom one. You may be getting that indirectly, but the top is hard to hit. And just more so, you want an even distribution. But when you don't have it, like when you do reverse hypers, you're getting indirect hamstring work the entire time. Like, so much of what we would do would be attacking that posterior chain. And also because we have so many ways to do it, you're not getting used to it, body or mentally. So you're never bored and your body can never adapt and say, oh, now I'm really good at it. We would change it around or change the variation, So it's like that. And it's like you can make do, but the different, like, just like for me, it's like I was already training using conjugate saw when I was at Chelsea Piers. But when I didn't have to do the shitty version of a reverse hyper and a GHC and I had a real reverse hyper, there's a fucking difference.
There's a big difference. Yeah.
There's a big difference, So and you find ways to make it work, but like the worst was probably the Boston where we didn't even have a squat rack. Like, and we know improving the squat improves the jump and the sprint. You can't even do that. And like, if you're not really weak and a heavy dumbbell is going to be challenging, you're left with all I could do is deadlift and accessories for lower body, basically, and that's rough just because the deadlift's harder to recover from, which is why we would do a lot, even now, a lot of like the rack pulls. The annoying thing though is that like they don't have band pegs or chains. You can't. There's only so much you can rotate.
Yeah. So I'm definitely in my next contract, whether it be here or wherever, like that's certain things I'm looking forward to as far as like how's your facility look? Do you have trainers? Are they full-time trainers? Because we had trainers this year, but they had their own practices. So you had to find a time on schedule. Recovery, like all of these things that can help me be a better basketball player. Because this year I heard a lot of, Chris, you're just old. I'm like, bro, I'm 28. I didn't feel like this in the summer, bro. I had work, I had all of this stuff, and I was actually performing way better. And I get here and I could barely move, and you're like, oh, it's because you're old. No, it's because you don't have nothing that helps me be a better basketball player for your club.
And people say old. I'm like, bro, you see old ass CP3 probably gonna go to the finals again. Don't tell me about old. 28 used to be old, like if you played in the NBA in the 70s, but with all the information we have from a nutrition, a training standpoint, and recovery standpoint, there's no reason that if you can play, that you should retire any really earlier than 35. Like there's no, like, unless if it's like, yeah, I had a bunch of non-contact, like Patrick Beverley, people run into my knee, land on my back. If it's just like all you deal with ankle sprains, there's no reason not to play 35 or more, age 35 or older, because we know now there's so much evidence that different body types, height-wise, big, they're all playing a lot longer just because, and it's for one reason, the knowledge in those three areas have drastically improved. Now, there's still people who think you should train like LeBron James and sit on a Bosu ball. And it's like, yeah, that's because it's LeBron James. That shouldn't even work for you. Yeah. But overall, at least people know I should lift. How you should lift matters, but at least it's gotten to the point, okay, we should lift. Okay, unlike a old boy that plays in NFL talking about, I'm just going to eat candy and eat a regular meal once a day.
Was he serious about that?
He was freaking serious. But he is a genetic – no, that motherfucker was serious. But he's a freak. Like, now you got kids I know that are probably out there saying, yeah, I can get away with eating 3 bags. No, you cannot. Yeah. You cannot. You're not. If you were him, you know already. So what's your nutrition-wise, it's got better too.
In the season.
Said, wait, what were you saying?
What's the most important thing, like, in season, like training, like when you're writing a program for me or for another basketball player or for another athlete in season, how does it change? Like, how do you adapt to it, like what they're doing? Well, especially like this year I didn't have a trainer.
Yeah.
Like but maybe next year, being I play in a higher league, I have a trainer who's giving me a program, and now I have to do his program and our program. Like, how do you adapt to that?
It's the same thing with any of my kids that work here and they have to go to weight room. I fill in the gaps. So I guarantee you the dude's either going to do, he's going to do all the bougie ladder stuff, Bosu ball stuff, or he's going to be a guy that wants you to do like Olympic lifts. So what did you just finish saying is your biggest weakness? Your posterior chain, low back, glutes, hamstring. So I'll just do all that stuff. Okay, he doesn't want to do any jumping, but now you guys do have box jumps. Okay, in our workouts, we would add that in. Now, let's say maybe he is a guy that's not afraid to max you out on bench or squat. I'm not going to make you max out on bench or squat again, but maybe he doesn't do the higher volume of like 9 sets of 3 or 5x5 in the bench and 5x5 in the squat. Maybe that's the 2 days that we need to do. Not you're training with them 3 times a week. You're still training with me 3 times a week. But even if it is, maybe my side is more recovery or my side's the more heavy strength because they're doing the other. There's got to be at least one box he's going to check. I got to check the other boxes and just fill in the gaps, And that's what, until you play like in the NBA or G League or something like that, do you guys have a team trainer and then you're like, hey, I have my own guy. I don't have to do anything you guys say as far as the weight room or whatever, Yeah. But more often than not, you got to do some of the stuff they want you to do. Okay. And then I go do my own shit. Because like when I was in college, we had the athletic trainer, which is really the tape and scrape guy, writing workouts. Literally had no clue what the hell he was doing. And you know what I did? I just lied about how strong I was. I would do bullshit the entire time. And then I would go do still my 3 to 4 workouts. So because already at that age when I was only 21, I still knew I knew more than that motherfucker. Because I knew, number one, he literally just copied and pasted workouts. And number 2, I knew they were bad workouts. So it was like all bodybuilding and like core shit. And I was like, wow, are we bodybuilders or are we basketball players? I don't know. So, that's what you do. But the biggest thing between like in season, you or any other guy versus the off season is just in the off season, you're going to push for numbers on a bar. In season, you're going to try to maybe more maintain those numbers on the bar and push maybe like, let's say you had a belt squat machine, right? I can march for 3 sets of a minute with this band. And then the next week I added 10 pounds, still the same quality. Okay, that means you just got more in shape. Or same thing with the sled. I can do a little bit more weight because in season, what's going to matter a little bit more? Health and your conditioning. Yeah. It's going to be really hard to improve on your numbers with the bar in season, whereas maybe we can focus on all the little things we, swapped out for the off season. Because you shouldn't train all year the same, just like your skill work's probably going to go down a little bit in season just because you're now playing hard. You know, so same thing with workouts all season. Maybe it's 4 times a week weight room. Then it goes to 2 or 3. Also, you know how you would do, it's week by week with everyone, but especially with a pro athlete, it's really week by week because you're playing for money. You're playing at the highest level. And if you play a lot, you're going to be more beat up. You know, so like when I train football
from the beginning of the season,
most of the time it's twice a week because, you know.
Yeah.
I was just going to say they play, you may only do twice a week because Sunday through Tuesday, they're still in a train wreck. You know, so they may only be able to train Wednesday, Thursday, take off Friday. You know, so that's always case by case and how much the person plays in their position. Like a big man may have more physical contact injuries that he's like, hey, I'm not going to get much out of this workout. So why should we do that workout? Either we push it or we cut it out and try to make the best out of those 2 days, you know?
How do you figure out what's worth pushing through and what's not worth it?
Well, that's where when you're training someone online, and even with me and you, we at least started in person. So it's much easier for me to gauge stuff. And I know you on a more personal level and your history way more. But when it comes to online and you're at that age, a lot of it's going to be more on that person. It's like when I say leave 10 to 20 in the tank, depending on the person, they ain't leaving shit in the tank. And then they're like, oh, it's your fault why I got hurt. Motherfucker, I told you to leave some in the tank, you know? Whereas when you would be smart, like, oh, I could push it. And I remember when you asked me about that week where you're like, oh, I'm tired of like feeling like I can't push, but I know I could do this weight. And that's why I said like, hey, that's a how do you feel on that day? If you feel like you got it, get it. But if the previous, like if you do 275 and it don't feel great, don't do 315 just because you want 315. You may get it and you may not get hurt then, but it may take 2 or 3 days to recover because you're in season. If you're off season, that's when you push.
That happened to me once. Happened to me once or twice. I think it was on a front squat. I did like 315 in the front squat. And it got up and I felt I did one of these when I got off the bar. I was like, oh, hold on. Like, and then I don't think I was able to really front squat, or I think you kept telling me to do front squats. I'm like, yeah, I don't like that one. It just wasn't really, I wasn't stable enough. So I did it once at 315, but then the next couple of weeks, I just like, I barely did anything. I'm like, I don't like that one. And then it was
that's where it's like, you said, go ahead.
And then on the sumo deadlift, I think I added like, I went crazy on that one. I did like 3 plates and maybe a 10. I don't know. And it was for like 3 times. And one time I like, might have stretched the back out just a little bit. So like, I'm like, I need to relax, bro. You still got a whole season to keep playing in. And like, I had to find that, me personally, you know, if I can't finish the way I felt like a bitch, like that shit hurts my feelings, bro. I'm really pissed. But like now I'm learning like, yo, the long game.
Yeah, and you're not going to get paid for what you do in the weight room. So you can't let that take away from your ability to go hard in practice, to go hard in the game. So like the amount of strain that you're going to get from a 3 or 5 rep max, even if you leave 10 to 20 in the tank, is enough stimulus from that as a basketball player as you need. Just like me doing sled is about as enough conditioning as I need to do powerlifting. Right. So there's that balance. I can't go so hard in this that it takes away from the end goal or end skill that I actually get paid or trying to compete in, you know? So it's like, great that you got 315 on your front squat and your coach is going to be like, how much did you average? Well, I didn't feel so great because I lifted. He's going to be like, what? They don't give a fuck. So that's where it's like, that's the learning curve. And that's where, as a strength coach, we sometimes will do stuff knowing that you're still going to go harder or do it wrong, but that we set it up so you're wrong or you're doing more still won't be that bad. So it's like, well, if I tell you to leave 20 to 40 and you end up only leaving 10 to 20, that actually may be what I want you to do. Or I say, like sometimes with my kids, I know that because they don't know how to judge what their 1 rep max really is, if I say 2 and they only get 1, that's good because I actually want to know their 1 RM without doing a calculator, but it took the fear out of them saying, oh, this is my 1 rep max. Right. So I'm actually tricking you to do what I want you to do. You don't even know it. So that's where it's like, part of it's on me and you where it's like, okay, we got to learn when to push and all that. But time difference and I'm not in front of you, that's a learning curve that you got to be willing to go through that tough patch. Like, fuck, I'm a little bit beat up. Maybe I should not have gone as hard. And then you ask him, but I'm like, yeah, you probably should, and that's it's also a lot of it having to do with like reading where you are in that week. Like you may be able to push 1 week and the next 3 weeks on that max every day, you may be beat up because you scored 30 something, you played 40 something minutes. You're probably not going to be to get your PR that next day, but getting within 10% of that PR is enough of what you need because of how fatigued you are. We're really trying to get a stimulus more than we're trying to get a number for you,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was really, really happy with the way the year ended. Like I took the nutrition well, resting part, tried my best on. Basketball part has always been basketball. I'm not worried about that part. Lifting part, we had on lock, and I finished the season out like I said, one of my best seasons. Statistically, points wise, was the only thing that was less. But if 7 guys on my team are averaging 10 points or more, and I'm still the leading scorer, that's fine.
What was your assists compared to other years, though?
My assists, I think I went up like 2 assists again, like 1.
There you go. I mean, you have more weapons on your team,
Yeah, and then
if you think of Jimmy Butler, go.
I went up my rebounds. I went up to like 6, almost 7 rebounds a game, from like 4 or 3. Like the last time I was averaging like 18 or like 19, 3 and 2.
Right.
So like even though the points is around the same, like the rebounds went up, the assists went up, the steals was about the same, but I went for less steals, but like it was just about like the right plays, bro. It was just about the right plays. So like the basketball part it was regular. But having that in the team,
I was gonna say that, when you have more weapons around you, a smart player is gonna analyze that and say, well, what's the easiest way for us to win? Yeah, I could try to score 20 plus and we win less games, but I guess I look a little bit better. Or I increase my assist total, focus a little bit more on defense and rebounding, and score 2 points less. Because last time I checked, even if there are 2 points, 19 points with 2 less assists is going to be less points than 17 with 2 more assists. That's 21 to 20, 24 points or whatever it could be. So it's like, well, I'm actually contributing more to the game overall in points. My rebounds also went up. So I'm either stopping an opponent from getting a second chance opportunity, or I'm aiding in the fact that we're securing offensive rebound and we're getting another opportunity. So that means you became a more calculated and smart basketball player. And that's easy to carry over because what's the likelihood of you being the man on the 1 and 2 team compared to being the 3rd or 4th guy? They may say, oh, this guy, we know he has the potential to score more. It's not like he's shying away from big shots to end the game, but he could choose to shoot more and he doesn't because he's trying to get his teammates, get that ego wet of everybody else because in the long run, he needs those guys to win games. And it's like because of that, your team went up. So if you're the best player on the number 1 team, y'all move up and you made the change from I'm just going to focus on scoring. That means you develop more as a player and you can probably fit more systems. It's rare, like rarely are you going to go into a new team and you're going to be the man. More often than not, you either have to slowly earn that right or you're the 2nd and 3rd. But if you have a big ego, teams know it's going to be harder to ingrain this guy. So like, to me, I mean, obviously y'all moved up. So how's that not your best season? And you're the least beat up. So that's good too.
Yeah. I'm walking out of this season literally with, I feel like I just need 2 weeks just because my hamstring is a little tight. That's it.
Yeah. Right.
So like that part, like I'm not drained mentally. I mean, I a little bit just because of all it took to win and, but like body wise, I was like, I wasn't as bad as I used to be. Like I would want to just pig out for like a whole month and just relax and never touch a ball. And I'm ready to go back, like I said, like tomorrow.
And it shouldn't be like that with basketball,
Yeah. So I feel like this year it was definitely a win, and I've been telling, like, that's why I wanted to get on this, just to let you know, and we put this up, that because of the program that we did, that you taught me how to lift, how to relax, how to pace myself, I was able to give it, and be able to finish out the season on a strong note and win the championship. And it took definitely didn't see this happening 2 years ago, to now, and it's gonna go even further because now I felt that success. Now I want more of it because I know it was a lot of things I could have done more of. We get a better gym, better recovery situation. Maybe the numbers look even crazier.
I mean, one of the biggest things, if we get a squat rack and a box jump set, we could do a lot more, right? Just all them things, And that shit ain't like that foreign and that expensive, So
it's not. It's not, and it feels like it will definitely be next season for sure because that's the things that's gonna determine where I go. Even if it's back here, it's gonna determine which gym I find in the city on my own because I know even if I have to pay that whatever monthly fee that it is on my own, I'm gonna be getting so much more because I'm able to win more games or put up more stats. So,
I don't know. Can you talk about what your plans are, or what you're deciding on here? Or do you want to keep that private? We'll talk off air on that shit.
That's more off air because I don't know.
Yeah, that's off air.
That's more off air. But now, all I can say is that I'm a champion, and you have a big part of that. You have a big help in that, and I appreciate that, bro.
Well, I mean,
like I said before, I'm happy about that.
That's why, I love doing this because, I've enjoyed other people's success more than I tell people all the time, I'm only going to powerlift just so I can show people look, you can do this sport and then you can go into this. And just because, people are going to always be like, well, did you do this and that? Yeah. So, and I just want to stay competitive, but for me, it's my goal is to train a bunch of lifters and I want them to blow out all my numbers and especially my basketball players I train. I want them to all jump higher than me. See, I know a lot of people that jump very high and can't coach for shit and don't know nothing about this strength condition. Meanwhile, all my boys, no matter what sport, they jump higher than I ever did playing basketball. That's important to me. And that's what makes me happy. Especially someone like you coming off an injury and it's contemplating, should I retire? Should I even keep doing this? Should I listen to the haters and the naysayers saying, oh, you can't come back from this. You can't be better and have a better season and move up. And it's well, look what you did. And it's like you said, this is only the beginning because we're not going to go backwards, especially when access to stuff money-wise is just going to keep going up. So stuff's only going to get, training's only going to be to get more efficient, have more fun and variable in it because we can do more because we have access to more. And, hopefully on their end, they're going to hopefully up your recovery and all that, because more money means you can afford to do more shit,
Exactly.
And the biggest thing is that now your projected retirement age can go way higher than it would have been before when you weren't lifting, when you weren't training nothing. And then also even with the drills and stuff, we talked about that mentality of how you approach that stuff. If you look at, talking about being efficient and optimal with your time, it's the same as the weight room. When you see that happen, you realize, well, I can work hard. I just got to be a little smarter the way and how often I'm going hard. Because at the end of the day, they're going to care about what you do in the game that you get paid and people are actually going to watch, So,
exactly.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, that's all I had to say. That's why I wanted to get on here. Like I said, I just wanted to share the story. I know you got the book coming out. I know this would be some great publicity for that. And
you in it too. Did I tell you that you're in it?
No, you didn't.
I got a good little picture of you in there. And you're it's one of the ones you sent me. One of your nice photos. If you want me to switch it, I'll switch it. I'll let you know.
I just want to make sure it's one of the nicer ones. That's it.
Nah, it ain't no freeze frame of a video shit. No, it's a nice.
I don't want no busted looking pics, but yeah.
But yeah, you're in there because we talk about when we first started training, then how stuff has changed when you went overseas, and then your numbers when you first started, and then where they are, and then just going from when we first started, you weren't able to dunk, then you started dunking, now you started windmilling, rocking the cradle, and all that, and it's So I mean, I'm not gonna talk about it all, but man, when I sent it to Blake, the first edit it was 87 pages. Now that shit is 193. He had so much stuff. It's a legit book because well, I don't know if you know, but Blake is an English teacher by day, So he understands all the strength conditioning verbiage, but then he involved to make me do all the storytelling more. Like I didn't have an intro and a conclusion and talk about my story and all this and the why behind everything. Like, so every time we come back, we added 20 pages, there's 20 pages, 20 pages. Like, so it should be like, we're at the very, like, because we started, it was like, we were going a phone call and it'd be 5 pages of notes of what I had to change. The last one, which was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, was I think like a page, and it was like 3 things. Half of it was just rearranging some stuff. So very close to being, and I'm just finally ready to put it out there. But I mean, I got full 9-week programs for middle school, high school, and pro in there. Then it's like all the different versions you can do if you don't have reverse hypers and belt squats and all that stuff. Then like explaining all the different strength methods. And then I'm pretty sure I told you there's like 50 to 60 pages of all drills. So it covers a lot of the on-court stuff. So big man drills, shooting guard drills, point guard drills, like all the stuff that I've learned that's actually going to carry over to like that shooting guard stuff is all, hey, bro, you got to master a 1 dribble pull-up. If you got no damn 1 dribble pull-up come off no screen, do not start doing step. You know, that's because the book is directed to the young kids and the parents. And it's like, listen, you want to do Kyrie stuff? Great. But if you can't catch and shoot, catch 1 dribble, float and go and finish with either hand at the basket, you jump at the ball. So a lot of that. And just like from all the people I've learned that have either played in league, playing college high level, that's like picking and adding and saying, okay, here's all the stuff that I've learned. And, you know, run with it if you want, you know. So I'm excited. I never thought I'd write a book. So
nah, bro. Yeah, I'm coming up next. I got a lot of stories too, but I'm happy that like we're able to do stuff like this and share stories. And you got a lot of kids up under your belt at this point, like way more than I seen when I was there. I know that's growing, and so I know like the game and the training situation is in good hands. It's in good hands with you, you know. Like I seen you transform some guys, and like I said, you know, any way that I can help in that realm, I will, of course. But I know that the game is in great hands with you.
Yeah, you know,
hopefully. Give you your flowers, bro.
You said what?
I gotta give you your flowers, you know.
Yeah, but you know, just the same. I'm in the same mindset where it's like, all right, but what's the next thing I got to do? You know, it's and that's the big, you know.
Oh man, about like, that. I think I lasted like we did the celebrations. We'll talk later about that.
Yeah.
I think it was about like 3 days, and I'm like, all right, what's next? Like, and then I'm telling myself like, all right, let me try to relax and enjoy this.
Yeah, you want to enjoy it. You gotta enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
It's just like somebody passing. Like you gotta let yourself be sad. Like otherwise, you ain't never. You're gonna miss something that's gonna all of a sudden throw yourself into your lap, all these emotions, or just like when it comes to success, you gotta, little or big, say like, yeah, I did a good job, and then it's like, all right, but don't settle for that.
Yeah,
you can quickly be like, well, look what I've done, and it's like, well, especially if you want to reach more of the masses, like, well, you got to keep doing stuff. Like, you can't just be like, well, I did this 10 years ago.
I won a championship a few years ago, and I had that mentality of like, yeah, I'm good now. And like this time around, I'm like, okay, I won it, I showed it, that chapter is done. Enjoy it for like a couple weeks, but get right back on the ball because this ain't the end, you know. And I'm not happy with this league. I wasn't happy with this league, and I showed that I didn't belong in this league. I belong higher. So now it's about being a solid player or a great player in the next league until I can, you know, make that push. But yeah, I'm definitely like, all right, what's next? How can we get next? And next is summer workout. Like next is recovering my body, getting summer workouts and seeing which team I play for, what they want me to do over there, and just taking it day by day for real.
Yeah, I'm excited to see once we have the official announcement where you're gonna be next, and then just, you know, everything that you got, you know, lined up this summer and everything. Because the coolest thing is that, you know, doing it the same on my side. It's like the harder you work, it a lot of times when you're not as well named, it just takes a little longer. But once it starts picking up steam, it's like, oh shit, I got all these things that are lined up that you would just want one of those things to happen. But when it's like multiple, it's like, oh, okay, I'm on. And it's like you want to keep staying in that head down, but it's like, okay, shit's picking up here. There's some
Yeah.
tumbleweed shit going. So
When it picks up, it picks up. And I know that.
yeah,
Like, and I always felt that like this whole season, I'm like, just keep going, just keep going. Once it picks up, it's gonna go. And like the amount of opportunities that I'm seeing and that are like kind of forming,
yeah.
way more than I thought would be possible. So it's just like keeping, like you said, staying in that, not getting too comfortable, and just like I
Hmm.
said, continue doing the work that got me to this point, that got you
Yeah,
to this point. Just continuing to do that, and everything will be fine.
yeah. Everything else will fall in its place.
But yeah, cut that so that recording off so I can tell you what's up.
All right, peace out, people.
All right, bro.
Hold on.